So yes, the topics today, Lizzie's going to talk about Canadian Rockies and Calgary, and then Frank is Rocky Mountain. So it's a really great combo. We have the destination, and then of course we have a product, and very popular, both the destination and the product. So great session today. Thank you, Frank. We'll see you in a bit. Frank will be back because you can see that Lizzie is going first. So welcome back to the Canada Specialist Program Series. Our first up today is with Lizzie. Lizzie, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you, Charlie.
Great to have you back on the series, Lizzie. And I'm sure many people know you. We know that you're an expert in this region, but also you have just recently returned from another trip. How was your trip?
I have. I actually went to all three places on the screen and hosted some of our key wholesale accounts to get them up to speed on product and also get myself up to speed so I can make sure that when travel agents have questions of the most commonly asked question, I'm aware and up to date on the latest information. So I'm excited to share that today because I do have some updates on questions I get asked a lot by travel advisors.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Lizzie. Great to have you back. I'll hand over, let you take it away.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. I will be taking you through today the three places on the screen today, with Banff and Jasper being the Canadian Rockies and Calgary being the gateway city. I'm going to start in the heart of everything, though, which is the province of Alberta, where we are located. And we're right beside British Columbia here. You can see Calgary as the gateway, and then Banff and Jasper in there as well. Edmonton is also an airport gateway for Jasper. I put that into perspective just from a geographic viewpoint. You can also fly in by Vancouver, of course. So, but then connect over to Calgary. Now, in the Canadian Rockies, everybody knows Banff. Banff is the place to stay, the place to tick off, and it's also home to Lake Louise. But what a lot of people get confused about is that they think either Lake Louise has a town like Banff or that Lake Louise also might be very close to Banff. They're actually two separate towns. One really is considered a town. The other, I'd say, is a village, and they're 45 minutes apart. Looking at this image of Banff, think when you book your clients, they're going to be staying there in all the hotels, all the tour companies, all the bars, everything in the hub is in Banff. Whereas Lake Louise, the reason I put this image up is to show that the village really is tiny. It is a car parking lot where you have one liquor store, one clothing attire store, a very tiny grocery store, and also a bakery. That is it. There's no restaurants, there's no fine dinings. When you stay at Lake Louise, it's all about the iconic lake, and if you're limited to the hotel that you stay at. So I just wanted to really visualize that as I take you through the presentation to not confuse people on what the two towns have to offer. It's really important to know that, but definitely want to tick Lake Louise off. It's just how you tick Lake Louise off is what I'll go through. So getting around and getting to and from. Banff is self-explanatory. If you're in Calgary, it's an easy airport transfer. I've listed the transport companies there. If you drive, you need a national park pass. Once you're in Banff, getting around is easy. And then if you want to connect Banff and Lake Louise, big takeaway here, only Brewster Express will take clients' luggage between the two towns. No other bus transportation will do it unless it's private through Rocky Mountaineer Rail Tours, which you will be taken through shortly by Frank. But please bear that in mind because there is no other. And even if you're in winter and on a ski bus, they do not take luggage. So take away Brewster Express for people who are connecting the two towns on a holiday. Say 5 nights in Banff, 3 nights in Lake Louise, you'll need to have Brewster Express in your itinerary for luggage if they're not self-drive. And I've listed there for you the ski shuttles, getting on to beyond Banff, you'd use Sundog Tours. And the most important part too is exploring the lakes and understanding the lakes and how you get to the lakes. Being Banff is where all the tours go from. It's best to book a tour from Banff unless you're staying at the Chateau Lake Louise, because in Lake Louise itself, unless you self-drive, there is no taxis, no Ubers, and the hotel really becomes your destination. But in summer, you can't even get up to the lake if you're not at Chateau Lake Louise driving. You have to have a special ticketed shuttle. Which brings me to the big draw card of the national parks, and it is these iconic lakes. And these are the two lakes that I'm most asked about, and they can get a little bit confusing and complex for summer. So I've done a little fact sheet here to help you see Lake Louise. It is year round. You can see an image in summer, you can see an image in winter. Summer is our high season in the Canadian Rockies. So winter, everything comes down in price. But in summer, with popular places like Lake Louise, you really need to book a tour from Banff, because the hotels in Banff, you can't book a tour to go to the lake. And for self-drivers, you have to park at Lake Louise Ski Resort, and you have to pre-purchase a Parks Canada shuttle ticket to get to the lake. You cannot get there self-drive otherwise, unless you are a guest of the Chateau Lake Louise. Winter access is completely different. Guests, again, will have priority, but you can self-drive to the lake. With no ticket system required in winter. However, tours, there are none. You have to go from Banff. And then for Moraine Lake, to the right here, this is completely summer-only product. And again, you cannot drive there unless you are a guest at Moraine Lake Lodge, and you have to park at Lake Louise Ski Resort and use the Parks Canada ticket system. And these tickets only come available to you approximately about 2 months prior to departure. So key takeaways there to see the lakes, and that's because they're so popular. Following this presentation, you'll all get an updated cheat sheet from me. It's going to cover the basics that you would also want to know, like hotels that do line Banff Avenue, and you can have a snapshot of them here and make it easy for you. So you know, okay, this one, and then you can look up what might be interest of you through your preferred operator. Lake Louise as well, the properties that are in Lake Louise or surrounds. And the cheat sheet will also explain if they're self-drive only. And when I say self-drive, you really have to be comfortable in winter self-driving, because it is icy conditions. So bear that in mind also for your clients. Also, seasonal activities. The cheat sheet will cover everything that there is to do and see in Banff and Lake Louise. And also, how I mentioned before, the guiding companies. Along the bottom here, you'll see the year-round small group guiding companies. All these tour companies have tours that depart Banff to take you to all these activities, including Lake Louise. Only one company, being Rad Adventures, takes you to an experience being the ice bubbles in winter from Lake Louise. Nobody else does. So it's best to stick in your mind so you don't forget, all tours must go from Banff. So don't let your clients think they can book a tour once they're in Lake Louise. Connecting Banff National Park and Jasper National Park is the iconic Icefields Parkway. There's a lot of confusion around this road, the experiences along the road, points of interest. So I thought I'd do a slide on this for you. It's a very long double-lane highway, and it's renowned to be one of the most scenic drives in the world. Pictured in the bottom left corner is what it would look like in summer. Cleared, driving's easy, it's beautiful. You can self-drive, tour companies. Look at the picture in winter on the right. And please tell your clients who say, oh, I'm just going to drive it in winter, they must be confident in conditions like this. And that is sheer ice on the road. So you are driving very slowly. I drove it myself, but it was my husband driving. I'm not one of those confident people. If it was me, I would have gone on the Sundog Tour transfer. They're experienced drivers. They take you between Banff National Park, Lake Louise, in Banff National Park as well, up to Jasper, on the Icefield Parkway year-round, experienced drivers, and that's what I would recommend for people who are not experienced in winter. Something else to really take away on the Icefield Parkway, the experiences are pretty much summer only. So the really famous Ice Explorer experience at the Athabasca Glacier on the Columbia Icefield, where you get the big tundra truck onto the glacier, and also the Jasper Skywalk, summer only. Closed completely in winter, only open from April to October. So please bear that in mind. And even though I've got 17 April and 18 October, do know that can be weather dependent. In April, if they start to get heavy snowfalls, they'll close it. So please know that for your key experience along the Icefield Parkway. In winter, though, let me say, it is beautiful drive. It is stunning. I'm not trying to turn you off it. All I'm trying to do is say, please be prepared when you're talking to your clients about connecting along the Icefield Parkway and the logistics of doing such a drive. So we've connected along the Icefield Parkway, and now we're in beautiful Jasper National Park. Similar to Banff, it's a little Rocky Mountain town, bigger than Lake Louise when I showed you the comparisons, but no Banff. It's beautiful, quaint, wilderness, but it has a heart of a little Rocky Mountain town. Streets like this here, there'd be 3 streets like this. and only 2 have shops lined for them, but the shops are fantastic. There's restaurants, there's hotels downtown, and yeah, it's getting around though is limited to tours or taxis. There's no Uber, and there's no sort of transportation unless you book a tour with Sundog Tours again. Rail, it's a rail hub. Right across from this street here is the railway station, and that's where Rocky Mountaineer pull up in summer, and Via Rail also pull up year round. So very popular as a train hub, which makes accommodation a little bit tricky in Jasper if you are pulling in on a train day and you haven't got a train. And I'll let Frank take you through that, because the trains do take allotments, and summer in Jasper can be difficult, even with your self-drive product or your tour companies that come and they haven't got a block. So always get in and book your Jasper accommodation early, or put it into a package with the rail. That would make a lot of sense as well. And also to a lot of their beautiful cabins that are only open in summer, they're self-drive product only. Your cheat sheet that I'm going to send you, the reason I'm flicking through this quickly is it'll have all this information, really clear images and little dot points that will say self-drive only or summer only, etc. Likewise, with the activities versus going through all of them, you can see the things you can do in the cheat sheet year round when I send it across. And also on that, it will, bearing in mind, Sundog Tours will need be required for transfers unless the activity says they've got a transfer included. So now let's scroll back that I've talked about the heart of the Rocky Mountains and talk about their gateway city of Calgary. I was so impressed when I visited there recently. Too many Australians stay at the airport and then they just don't go downtown and experience what a great city this is. It's flat, it's walkable, wonderful shops, but my biggest takeaway I was so impressed was with the food. The culinary scene is amazing, way better than the airport, beautiful hotels downtown. So definitely get your clients downtown and stay in one of the properties. I have, again, in the cheat sheet included for you the properties. It's very short to downtown too, only about 25 to 30 minutes to get downtown. And then from there, you can still get the Brewster Express or the Banff Airporter from your hotel in Calgary up to Banff. So you don't have to stay at the airport. Definitely worth heading downtown. And in this cheat sheet that I'll send you, I'll have all the attractions and activities. My favorite would be the Yamnuska Wolf Dog Sanctuary. I'm putting that one out though, because even though it's year round, it is my favorite of all. At the moment, it is self-drive product. They are looking into transfers. You'd have to book private, which would be quite expensive if you needed transfers. Otherwise, it is self-drive, but such a wonderful experience to definitely tick for your clients as a must-do in the area. Again, I will send this as a cheat sheet, so I won't go into every single activity, but takeaway is the food. I was just so impressed. I even went to the Calgary Farmers Market and they give you vouchers where you can buy whatever you want. And this is all through trade as well. So great experiences available. And Calgary also is not only the hub to the mountains to the north, but also south. There's a lot of activities south in Calgary. But their accommodation isn't as great, or their towns are not as lively. So you can use Calgary as a base camp to some of the southern Alberta experiences as well. So I've put them in the cheat sheet for you as well, should you had clients want to venture south. And then this is the cover of the cheat sheet that you'll get from the booklet. It's digital. I'll send it to you after the presentation. I've got the trade links on there as well. But I'm open to questions at the end, and I'll hand it back to Charlie and Frank.
Thank you, Lizzie. Love it. I know you have a lot to cover in 12 minutes. So thank you. Beautiful destinations, Jasper, Banff, Lake Louise, and that amazing gateway city of Calgary as well. So just while Frank is getting ready, Lizzie, I really liked you mentioning about the split stay between Banff and Lake Louise, because they are so different, and it's nice to stay at the lake as well, although all the activities are in Banff. So we were talking earlier about maybe doing 4 nights in Banff, 2 nights in Lake Louise, or even longer, because there's so much to do. I think it's really nice to, not have to choose between them and to be able to spend time at both, right?
Absolutely. One of the biggest complaints I had from travel agents was they weren't there long enough. And
Yeah.
so long stays, you will not run out of things to do. You could even easily spend 5 nights in Banff. Probably less in Lake Louise, because Lake Louise is a hotel destination. It's like if you're not at the chateau and you don't have transport, you're really limited. Your hotel becomes your destination. So that's something to really bear in mind in getting around Lake Louise, unless you self-drive. It's completely different if you self-drive.
Yeah. Awesome.